Attorney Brooke Jenkins had some things to say about the state of justice in the city. KRON4's Charles Clifford heard from her, and he continues our team coverage right now with these details.
Well, good afternoon. Yeah, this jury spent a little less than 7 days deliberating this case. Ultimately, they rejected Nima Momeni's claim that he was acting in self-defense when he stabbed Bob Lee. And earlier this morning, we heard from both the prosecution and the defense following the verdict. Shortly after the verdict was read in court Tuesday morning, San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins spoke to the media. She said that she was satisfied with the verdict and happy that the family of Bob Lee has gotten justice.
I think we are satisfied with that verdict. Of course, we presented evidence that we thought substantiated a first-degree murder conviction, but at the end of the day, the jury has weighed in with their verdict, and we respect what that is, and we do understand, based on the facts, how they might get there.
40-year-old Nima Momeni is now facing a potential sentence of 16 years to life in prison. His defense team says they plan to appeal the verdict.
It's not what we expected. We're glad it's not murder one. You know, we were surprised that this wasn't a lesser verdict, and you know, we intend to see what we can do to continue to fight for Mr. Momeni.
Momeni is expected to return to court on January 10th, when the judge in this case will schedule a sentencing hearing for a later date. All right, back live now. That is the very latest here in San Francisco. Charles Clifford, KRON4 News.
Charles, thank you. And as we continue our team coverage, what we'll do now is take a look back at how we have covered the story since the beginning.
Breaking news that we're covering: a tech executive has been killed, stabbed in San Francisco near south of Market.
Let me show you a picture of Bob Lee. Now, you might not know his name or face, but countless people have used his technology in many ways, including, as you mentioned, James, Cash App.
The Daily Mail obtained exclusive surveillance video of Lee's last moments. Police have not commented.
San Francisco police have arrested a suspect in the fatal stabbing of tech executive Bob Lee.
As 38-year-old Nima Momeni of Emeryville, California.
Court documents allege before leaving the Millennium Tower together, the victim and the defendant had a dispute revolving around the defendant's sister who lives there.
Bob Lee's full autopsy report showing that he had drugs and alcohol in his system at the time of his death, including ketamine and cocaine.
I mean, Bob Lee's system is like the Walgreens of recreational drugs.
The arraignment of Nima Momeni was drawn out for several weeks, but he finally pled not guilty to the charges against him today.
Momeni today announced a major shift in his legal team, with his attorney withdrawing from the case.
But how could I ethically represent somebody ever that I had a conflict of interest at the beginning? Do you understand?
We also got a glimpse of what Bob Lee's hotel room looked like the night he was killed. Pictures were shown of several empty alcohol bottles and remnants of cocaine.
The defense claims that Bob Lee was a heavy drug user who was under the influence when he attacked Momeni, and then claims that Momeni was looking out for his sister's well-being.
Momeni testified in court Monday, admitting to using cocaine, GHB, and LSD the night Bob Lee was killed. Prosecutors pressed her on the timeline leading up to Lee's death and questioned if she and Lee ever had a sexual relationship. Texts between Lee and Kazar revealed an alleged casual dating relationship. Kazar insisted their relationship was never sexual.
It was really hard today to see, Kazar kind of have two sides. One side is that she's really heartbroken for my brother's death, and the other side, she takes every opportunity to assassinate his character.
Jurors for the first time saw videos from a Nest camera taken at a residence 9 stories up. The other video watched by the jury was a clear street view of Lee staggering on Main Street and bleeding heavily and looking for help. Lee's ex-wife gasped in court watching this video. And as Bob Lee was dying, video of Momeni's BMW was seen going through the tunnel and heading back to his home in Emeryville at 2:47 a.m. Court on Wednesday has probably been the most important day so far in this trial because Nima Momeni took the stand. He says what changed the mood of what he calls a regular night as when they were outside of his car, and says Lee got angry and blew up at him over a bad joke. Momeni stands up and demonstrates that Lee pulled out a knife and swung his hand at him. Momeni says he pushed Lee away from him and redirected and got control of his hands. He says Lee walked away casually and he did not appear injured. and that it all happened so fast.
That makes no sense. How do you stab somebody 3 times and then think that they're not injured?
Then the courtroom was stunned when Momeni says Bob took the joke to the heart.
The prosecution argues that Momeni was aware of his own guilt because of his actions following the murder, saying he threw the knife away, that he never called 911, that he fled the scene, never emailing or texting anyone. It was the defense's turn with closing arguments, and they spent a majority of the day talking about the relationship between Cash App founder Bob Lee and Nima Momeni, claiming that the two were friendly with each other, and saying the prosecution only showed a fraction of the messages between the two to show a false narrative.
We want to dig a little bit deeper into the verdict that came out today with our legal analyst, Michael Cardoza. Michael, thank you for being here. It took 7 days for the jury to reach a verdict. From what you've heard, did they reach the right conclusion?
I think they did reach the right conclusion. With the facts that were presented to them, with the jury instruction, with the time they took, they vetted this evidence very carefully, and they did come to the right decision.
And they rejected the defendant's claim that he acted in self-defense. That was really the crux of the issue here.
That's correct. The jury had a choice of either first-degree murder, which would have gotten Momeni 25 to life, plus the use of the knife, so it'd be 26 to life. Second-degree murder is 15 to life with the use of the knife, so 16 to life. Then voluntary or involuntary manslaughter, and that comes down to a top of 12 years, which I think 2 or 3 at the bottom. So they had to vet all that. Although the jury is instructed, do not deal with punishment. That's not your job as a juror. So they wouldn't know unless they knew in their private life what the penalties were.
Yeah, sentencing is set for early next year. I don't know what the term is when it comes to a legal case, but in a sporting event, like a Monday morning quarterback, if we can Monday morning quarterback what the defense did when Nima Momeni took the stand, is that something that changed the direction of this case? Or do you think that the defense team maybe is rethinking that thought now?
Well, I'm absolutely sure they're not rethinking it because they had to put him on the stand. Keep in mind what his defense was. It was self-defense. And the only person that was there that could testify to self-defense was Momeni himself. The best the defense could do would be prepare him for cross-examination, certainly for their direct, then the cross from the DA. If I were to sum up Momeni's testimony, it was a train wreck. He hurt himself. He was feisty on the stand. He wasn't listening. He didn't answer the questions that were asked, and he would try to ask the prosecutor on cross questions. So the jury saw that, and I assume they didn't like what they saw and didn't think his story made any sense at all with all the circumstantial evidence they had in this case.
Michael Cardoza, we're glad you could join us so we could spend a little more time talking about the verdict today in the Nima Momeni case. Appreciate your time.
Sure. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And now, if you want to read some more about what happened today in court, including the jury's verdict, hear more reaction from family members, and get the latest updates, you can scan this QR code on the screen right now. We'll take you right to our website, KRON4.com.